Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to your weekly astrological weather. This is your place to get practical guidance for not only surviving the cosmic tides, but thriving with the cosmic tides. My name's Amanda Walsh. I'm the founder of Astrology Hub, and I am so thrilled to be here with astrologer Stormie Grace. And Stormie was actually my co-host or our astrologer for the weekly weather before Anne. So It's so great to have you back, Stormie. And I love the way that you read the astrology. And I'm just happy to have this opportunity to reconnect on the weekly weather.
Absolutely. And isn't it funny? Like here we are in our reconnection during Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde. We're back on tap.
Yes, exactly. So I just wanted to let you know, for those of you who have missed the last few shows and are tuning back in, if you want to listen to the final episode that we did with Anne Ortley, it's episode number 404. And we explain the why and what Anne's going to be doing next and what we're doing next with this show. And so as Astrology Hub, we're focused more on bringing in lots of different perspectives. So you're going to be hearing from different astrologers. And what we're planning on doing is really honing it down to some core anchors or some core co-facilitators for this show, probably somewhere between 3 and 6 astrologers that we feature regularly. So please do give us your feedback when we have the astrologers on. Is this someone you would like to see regularly? We will send out a survey, so don't feel like you have to do that. We'll send out a survey at the end of the winter to see who we'll have back more regularly, but we're always going to be introducing new voices on this show as well. So I am excited to be doing this with all of you. And again, Stormie, welcome back. And we're so grateful to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And what a fun week to get to talk about. It's a busy, blistery, energetic kind of week. So
ooh, good. All right. So let's talk about the high level astrology for this week. What are we looking at? What should we be paying attention to?
So one of the first things I think we want to be paying attention to is that this is a shifting week. So energies are moving direction, planets are on the go. So when we have weeks that are like that, personally, you just want to know in your physical body and in the space, even mundane of the world around you, it is moving. There's a lot going on. So you want to be aware of that. With Mars moving into the energy of Capricorn, though, this is great. Things are going to start to get more productive. People will be more productive, right? So there is this kind of fiery move forward energy. And then as we're getting ready to close out the week, we're actually going to see Venus come out of retrograde. And because that is a personal planet, again, I tell you, pay attention to the energies around you, because when there's a personal planet that stations, we really feel that, right? So there's a hit to even the physical body. So you just want to make sure that this week, as you're going about doing what you're doing, you know that it's busy. Pause, reflect, do your due diligence all week long, double check some things because Mercury is still retrograde, and know that it is absolutely survivable. Okay. Like that is the number one thing. We're going to survive and thrive this week. It is just busy.
Okay, question for you on that. So you said that Venus is going to be stationing to go direct. What is that going to bring up for us? Is that like closure on some of the Venusian kind of relationship issues that we've been working with? Or is that clarity that we're going to get on how to move forward? Like, how's that going to show up?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that the coming direct at this particular time is going to leave us with is the understanding that there were some karmic and dharmic things that came back to our table for absolutely sure. And at this particular point at the direct stationing, I don't think that we're unclear as to what it was that came back and the implications that it's had for us personally. Is it that this thing needed to come back into my life because we needed to reunite myself and this person or this project? We are in the right alignment now, so we can move it forward. Or is it, gosh, I want it to be this, and it turns out what was left on my table is that this is not ready, or I'm not ready for it, right? But quite the other way in the Dharma, oh man, this is back and it turns out I am ready to go, even if I'm afraid, it is time for me to step in. So as we have this stationing, I think we're actually left with a lot of clarity in what came back to the table. And I want to remind people too that the fullness of the Venus retrograde cycle doesn't actually end until March 2nd. So while Venus does come direct, yes, we get this day of, okay, I'll get some energetic release to move forward with things. The real finale of it will be in March. And that's good news for all of us, because then we also see Mercury out of the fullness of its retrograde cycle and Venus. So what that means is we have full forward motion as we come into March timeframe. So just keep that in mind. If everything doesn't feel wrapped and tidy as we get to Saturday, it might not just yet.
Okay. And in the beginning, you talked about this being a shifting week, that we're going to be moving forward. It's going to be more productive. You were talking about Mars, but Mars is moving into what? I missed that part.
Capricorn.
Okay. Mars is moving into Capricorn. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
People that have been like feeling, I mean, I don't know about you, but I left for California to visit my family on December 23rd. And I'm still living out of the suitcase I packed on December 22nd. And I still haven't been able to go home because my roof is torn up. It was supposed to be done January 3rd, but it's still not done. So I've been in this like really interesting kind of like limbo state of transition that feels like it's just like, okay, when are we going to land? Like, when can that feeling of like the new year beginning actually happen? And are you saying that we're going to start to feel like we're settling at this point?
I don't know that we feel necessarily the settle this week. What I think is that we feel an energy of being productive, like the odds that have been placed in front of us, we have a sense of energy to be productive and kind of conquer them, or to climb that mountain with a little bit more diligence than we had before. Maybe even some of the frustration dies down a little bit this week, because it's like, okay, listen, this is not whipping forward. This is not moving at my time. This is, the supplies are not ready. Whatever it is, I feel like the Mars movement into Capricorn, because Mars is exalted here, which means it's like, yes, I like this, so it's a very yes kind of energy. It gives us that sense of, I can climb this mountain. Okay, steady determination. I have a fire about me that is going to get this done and will achieve it. But I don't know that it's the settle. I really don't know that we feel that landing until we come closer to the March timeframe, which doesn't mean, if you're listening, it has to be what it is now, right? There is always some forward progress. So I want you to don't hear what I'm not saying. Okay, because we can just make ourselves crazy like we can, but on a large scale, I think that there is a sense of productivity that gives some hope.
Yeah. Okay, great, Stormie. And then you brought up that there were karmic and dharmic things that came up. We hear the word karma a lot. I'm not sure that everybody knows what dharma is and or what you mean by dharma. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the karma, we sometimes we feel that one, we're good at finding the things that are hard.
Yeah, we are.
Like, this sucks. So I know it, so we feel that, where it's like, yeah, there's a consequence, or there is an untying that needs to happen. But in our dharma, like, these are the things, like, you've done it right. You've done it well. Now that level of success that is tied to your destiny has walked back to your table as well, and so that's where I say, for some people in this retrograde time we've been experiencing, and in the Capricorn areas of your chart, where are you finding your mastery, where you're like, oh, wait a minute, I actually maybe accidentally matured, right? You're different, and you're able to step into some area of your life in a different expertise. For some people, I will tell you this season, what it looks like, that expertise in the Dharma arena is, no, I don't think I'd like to participate with that. And that word no is a reflection that you have changed, and we just really, I want to own that a little bit for people who are having that experience, because it is that step up. Like, yes, okay, the good things are back. Now let's step forward with them.
I love that. And Stormie is our inner circle astrologer this month. And one of the things that you've talked about a lot is this idea of mastery. and this opportunity to step into mastery. It's such a Capricorn word, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think even sometimes it's hard to even make that a goal. It's hard to even make that something that we're striving for. It feels so like up there at the very top of the mountain, like mastery. Could I even call myself that? But what I'm hearing is that we are in a period of time where recognizing where we have new levels of mastery. Doesn't mean like you're done, right? You're done. You're never going to have to work on that again, but new levels of mastery in our life in different areas. And what you're saying is that we may be finding that in the Capricorn area of our chart. So
Absolutely.
whichever house that Capricorn rules in your chart is where that may be showing up at, or where you could pay more attention to things that want that level of attention for you.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah, because we came into 2022, which again, I remind everybody, 2022 is not a straightforward year. The energy all year long is a little bit forward, a little bit back all year. So it's this forward backward dance. So even mentally wrapping your head around the fact that things are not going to move forward at the speed that you would desire, like that helps have some mastery in and of itself, right? Like, because you own that. But also because we came in with such a high Capricorn signature, as we travel these first couple months, we're going to continue in a high Capricorn signature, and then we're going to end the year in more Capricorn signature that is almost the same as what we have started with. To learn and have that mastery to author your own story in that Capricorn area is phenomenal growth this year, right? So we're going to have all of these things happening in Taurus and Scorpio, and there's other transits that you can be listening to. But I encourage a high amount of focus on where you are growing in that Capricorn area. The other thing I want to say about it is that Capricorn being ruled by Saturn, Mars gives us the desire to do things, have things, right? That's great. But it's Saturn that gets us to get it done. Saturn says, this is what it is right now, but let's get to the other side. So you take Mars and put it in Capricorn, in that Saturnian energy. It is desire and determination meets a willingness to get it done. That's the other reason I think this week begins being so productive, right? Because Capricorn says, it is what it is. I have to grab this by the horns. I have to be the big kid here. I cannot be waiting, which we learned at the Cancer full moon. I can't be waiting for someone else to be making all the decisions. I have to master what's going on in my life, space, sphere, whatever house that's happening for you.
Wow. And how long is Mars in Capricorn?
We're going to see Mars in Capricorn until March 6th.
Until March 6th. Okay. So we have this window of time where we're going to have this doubling up of energy around forward movement, getting things done. And then, like you said, in the Capricorn house in our chart.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. Amazing. Okay. What else do we have this week that we should be paying attention to?
Yeah. So next thing we want to pay attention to that I think is important, that brings us back to Capricorn, is that we come in on Monday and we have that Mars move into the Capricorn energy. We'll see it until March 6th. That's great. But then when we get to Tuesday, Mercury, who is retrograding right now, is going to come back into the energy of Capricorn. So again, we're stamped in this Capricorn signature, right? So now we have got all of these planets over in Capricorn, and then we bring our thinking planet back into Capricorn. So this is also an indicator for us as we travel that we have been here before. We're really not considering new things, right? We're thinking, having conversation, making decisions, using our strategy and our productivity on things we have already been seeing. So your poor roof, you're not done talking about the roof, right?
Oh God.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Right? But this is what I think will help calm some of us as well, so that you're not out there chasing different transits, looking for what's moving forward when the energy is still pulling back. So I would ask you to go back. You know, what was happening for you at the beginning of the year as we came in your Capricorn signatures? What was going on, you know, at 29 degrees of Capricorn for you? Mercury began it's retrograde. It started to slow down at 24 degrees of Capricorn. So between 24 degrees and 29 degrees of Capricorn, what's come up in your world? What came to your attention? As Mercury's back in Capricorn on Tuesday, that is exactly the golden nugget you can go back to and pinpoint what you're working on, what you're looking at this week, right? So just understand, though, it's coming back to make some decisions on things that were already presented.
You know, it's funny. So Capricorn is my 12th house, right? So it's like my spiritual, and my sun and my Venus and they're all there. So I've been trying to think of what's the metaphysical or spiritual symbol of a roof. Like, what does a roof do? It's like a protection, right? It protects us from the elements, or, you know, from the world outside. And I'm like, okay, so what does it mean spiritually to have my roof like blown up, you know, just torn up, and also to not be able to go home? Like, what does that mean too? So it's fascinating. So everybody can do that in their life, in the different areas where this is showing up for you, and get to that essence of what it's trying to show you or tell you, right? And we're having opportunity to revisit it this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, I have to tell you, it's funny because the other side of me just is very Capricornian. It's very earth sign, which I'm like, just get practical. Like, do you just need to fix that? Right? Like, you know,
it's being fixed. It
right?
is. I promise, Stormie. I'm doing what I can from the practical perspective. But then my 12th house is like, but there's got to be some meaning to this.
Right.
You know?
Right. And Capricorn, that's what I do love for all of us, wherever this is at in your chart. Sometimes our signs, especially our earth signs, just drop back down to earth. They're like, nah, just boots on the ground, broken roof. That's okay.
Yeah.
Don't think too hard about it. Right. So, you know, there's a space for the spiritual and for the practical is all I think I'm saying here. But sometimes just good old fashioned practicality.
Yes, totally. I hear you for sure. Okay,
good.
so we have that happening on Tuesday. What else are we looking at this week?
Okay, so as we get a little bit more down the road, we'll have moon interactions that happen all week long too, and those will bring harmonies and triggers as they do. The moon moves very quickly, so as you're traveling, you know, the 26th, 27th, and they're in a lot of the moon energies that will present themselves. Just again, remember, be diligent, be rethinking, move nice and slow. Neptune is still alive and well, there's going to be some confusion. So just move nice and slow as you're at the midpoint of the week. But when we see another jump of major transit energy is going to be on Friday, where we're going to have Mercury back in Capricorn, still retrograde, now coming into a conjunction with Pluto. Okay. But again, like, I just feel like the word this week, friends, is Capricorn. Okay. So you just Capricorn all week long. But as Mercury and Pluto get back together, there's a lot of introspection that is going on. There's a lot of reflecting. Mercury is not moving quickly, and it's vibrating next to a Pluto that's almost done with its work in this particular sign. So as Mercury and Pluto get together, first thing I will tell you is, if you did and you have found out over these last couple weeks that you need help with something, I need counseling, I need workers, I need an astrology reading, I need to do more research on something, this is a phenomenal transit to be working with under that energy. You can dig with this, right? But you're digging over something that you've already seen, because there's just a lot of soul and information searching that goes into Mercury, Pluto being together on Friday. So you can, you know, take that in mind. And I think really what I want to say about that is, I encourage your growth at this point on Friday. Like, I encourage you to do what you need to do and bring in the resources you need to allow that growth to be there, or the change.
Would you also say, I mean, one of the things that you said that jumped out for me is this asking for help, you know, like recognizing where you may need additional resources, additional people that have different experiences who may be able to help you through whatever it is that's coming up. I think sometimes it's very hard for us to ask for that help, but it sounds like that's something that would be wise to do, just to recognize, hey, I need help, and who can help me? And sometimes just asking that question, who could help me here? You'll start to have ideas of people that may be great resources for you.
Yeah, I just agree with that so much. And, through some of the forecastings that we've had and just the lunations that we've had this month, we had the new moon in Capricorn, which did ask us to start going back through the resources in the areas of our lives and doing a little inventory. What do I actually have here? Do I have what I need to achieve? And then as we came to that full moon in Cancer, which we're still under those rays and just like a couple weeks away from the next new moon, it really was this place of where can I garner the support that I need to be successful in these areas that I found out. And so as we're down and we're under this Mercury Pluto, I do think we're left a little vulnerable and we're left a little bit more honest. Pluto is a humbling planet, and I know it gets a bad rap, but I don't think that it needs to. Pluto is just about what's at the root of this so that it can be the best, that's it. So truly, what do you need to grow, and what resources did you even see or did you welcome as an adjustment at that full moon in Cancer a couple weeks ago? Because now you may be starting to see it and you're being shown a little bit who those helpers could be.
I love what you just said about Pluto helping us see what's at the root of this so it can be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so many times we run around and we put band-aids on situations. We kind of see that we see the external manifestation of something and we try to fix that instead of going to what is the root cause of this, and how can I shift it or change it at the source of it.
Yeah.
And so I love thinking of Pluto that way. Is Pluto giving us the impetus or the energy around doing that deeper exploration and helping us get to the bottom of it? And I love what you say, so it can be the best that it can be.
Yeah. And it's neat because on the same time that day, just before we see Mercury and Pluto come together, we actually see the transiting sun in a sextile to Chiron. And Chiron has done a lot of work. Like, we've been looking at these identities for a while and the wounds of the identity, the story I tell myself about who and what I am versus what I really am. And now as the sun and Chiron have this gorgeous sextile before we're getting a little bit deeper and doing that soul searching, we're offered an opportunity for healing. Right? It's a really healing aspect, and a sextile presents the opportunity, but then we are intelligently taking action on it. So I have no doubt that by the time we're rolling around Friday, you are moving in some way where you have acknowledged a pattern, an idea, a story, maybe even something in terms of a mantra or a prayer, or somebody said something to you and it has connected you with the impetus of your healing. And then Mercury, Pluto roll in and it's like, yeah, okay, I can get more grounded if I go here, if I get the help here, right? So there's like a little gentle helper earlier in the day before we intensify. And you're right, Pluto will make us vulnerable enough because it's uncomfortable that it's like, my insides can't stay in this condition.
You know what's the coolest thing, Stormie, is I find that when I allow myself to be vulnerable and to say, I need help, I don't know how to do this, or I can't do this by myself, it's so incredible because other people get an opportunity to come forward with their gifts. They're like, well, I know how to do that, or I could help you with that. And so how good does it feel when you get to actually serve someone with the thing that it comes easy for you, but it's hard for them for some reason, or you have a perspective or something that they needed to really get through a moment. So in so many ways, it's actually a gift for us to say, hey, I don't know how to do this. I need some help. Could you help me? Like, what an honor for the person to be like, oh, wow, like you see me as someone that could help you. Awesome. Like, I would love to. And so many times we like starve each other of those opportunities because we're too proud, or we're too afraid, or we're afraid of rejection. What if no one wants to help me? What if no one can help me? It's all these things that are just like muddled up. But I love this, almost like a challenge for all of us to be like, okay, this week, where do I feel like I could need help? And can I muster the courage to say, hey, I need some help? And then to see what that does. What does that open up for someone else who now has an opportunity to help you with their strength?
Absolutely. Well, and with all of the Neptune, there's just been so much confusion on the table. And I think that it has brought also, though, with Pluto in this Capricornian energy, it's brought up so many trust issues, from governments to nations to just my fellow man. And so when we have these opportunities to do this kind of healing, we remind each other that there is good and there is trust and there is, it heals some of those, even I think, inner child trust issues that rise to the surface. And certainly we've seen some ideas come up over this retrograde period.
So good. Okay. What else do we have this week?
Then we get to the weekend and we see Venus coming out of retrograde. So yay. Very excited to be having this. When Venus and Mars retrograde, and Mars will retrograde at the end of the year. So that's why we've got a lot of feels on the table. But as we see Venus coming out of retrograde, it's again in the signature of Capricorn. So we're still Capricorning. But what I think we have the opportunity to do is to be able to ground a little bit. We get this particular personal planet coming back online, and it's like, okay, I can ground. The meaning and the purpose of that retrograde was a ton of reevaluation of values, of looking at our relationships, our finances, our structures, these kinds of things. So now that we can say, I've seen it, the issue has itself, Venus comes out of retrograde. Take Saturday if you can to take a deep breath, rest, let that energy station and change direction. And because Venus is the planet of harmony, beauty, art, creativity, moving forward, what are the beautiful and creative solutions that have come to you? Where do you recognize the beauty of realignment in these areas of your life by some level of surrender? So I think that you can start to plan to have more clarity. Certainly, if you need to make bigger purchases, like finally slide the card, anytime after the 29th is way better. For many people, there were some really challenging relationship reevaluations going on. After the 29th, again, you have a bit more clarity to make important relationship decisions, as well as those financial ones. Now, I do want to I know I keep saying it, but I want to remind you that even though Venus is coming out of retrograde, she's not moving forward just yet. This is a hovering position of Venus at this time. So just Saturday, if you can just hold, hold. Information will likely come your way. Situations will come your way. But if you can just hold and know that if it's intensified, it's because we're still at a standstill with a planet changing directions. Okay. I think, honestly, a better time to make any kind of new relationship decisions will be at the new moon that rolls in February.
Okay. So hold, let Venus kind of continue to marinate in you, all those energies of Venus. Yeah.
Yes.
And then when we have our new moon is when we might be ready to actually make the decisions, make the further commitment, or make the decision that it's time to part ways, or whatever the things that you're holding.
Yeah.
And that'll be around, what is the new moon?
So we're going to see the new moon happening February 1st, and that one's going to be at 12 degrees of Aquarius. And then just on the 3rd, depending on where you live, Mercury will come out of retrograde. So having Mercury and Venus direct is a much better setup for powerful clarity to your decisions that you're making. But I will say, whatever decisions that you're making one way or another, I hope that you've used the retrograde time to honestly look at the resources and support you need to support you on the other side of these decisions. Because that new moon, which you'll have a whole new guide to walk you through, but it's in Aquarius, so it's going to be about resources, social things, support systems, things like that. So you want to make sure you're in a pretty good setup.
Okay. Yeah. And I
getting another week down the road.
With 2022, we have a lot of retrograde action, right? I mean, we have almost the whole year, someone's retrograde, or someone's, and I'm talking about planets, obviously, are retrograde. And so really just beginning to form a relationship with retrograde energy, with that opportunity to reevaluate, reassess, go more internal, like look at things with a different perspective, and know that period of time is built into the quote unquote cosmic curriculum in order for you to have the opportunity to course correct and to really, and if we use it and we really mindfully, consciously ask the questions, do the inquiries, dig, then we will get answers that will help us course correct and go in a very different direction than we might have if we never had that period of time.
Absolutely. So, because the changes are so big, right? We're making really big changes. We're making really big purchases right now. We're having really big reevaluations about where we even think we fit in our communities, our countries, our organizations that we're a part of. We need the slow. So I do agree that in high retrograde years, which is about every other year, we have to have time to learn to be uncomfortable with be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Because to try to speed it up, I assure you, we're going to hear from some of our friends and maybe some of ourselves. We tried to force a little something during Venus retrograde, and at the end of the year, we're going to be like, curse word, right? Because we got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, move slow, let the spirit unfold, be uncomfortable between that spirit and that mind because they're not online together yet. We got to grow into something because it's fine to live in the material world. We need to, we have to, right? We're meeting in the material world, but the realm of the spirit moves quieter and slower, and it is not in a rush to make the decisions that the mind is. And I think that's what we experience in that level of innovation that we've got going for ourselves in high retrograde years.
So good, Stormie. Okay, what's our theme and what's our intensity scale?
Okay, I have one more thing to tell you before we close out. And then
okay.
Sunday, we need to talk just quickly about this sun energy that is going to square up against Uranus. So that hard angle, first of all, exciting. I actually think that a sun-Uranus square is quite exciting because it'll get us to move. It will actually get you to like move your butt and break free from something, right? What is the project that's been going on? If you've been saying, oh my God, I'm so bored. My question to you on Sunday that Sun Uranus brings to your table is, are you bored or are you being boring? Right? Like we get this like whack that is just kind of like, okay, I'm ready to start coming up with new ideas, hear these new opinions, get new options, have different perspectives, right? All of these things kind of start to happen. So if you are feeling a restlessness on Sunday, or you have felt like you've been in a rut and all of a sudden, why is everything going? That I think we can really attribute to that energy. But just be open to the new innovation, be open to new ideas that are coming your way, and they might be really surprising. But again, you maybe don't have to make the biggest decision in the world that day. Just enjoy the newness.
Enjoy the newness. I love that. That's a line that I say to my daughters too. When they say, I'm bored, I say, only boring people are bored.
Right.
So go do something like and I also say, oh, congratulations, because right when you're bored, it's usually right before something really cool is going to happen. If you allow yourself to just be bored instead of trying to distract yourself out of being bored, it's like, wow, I'm bored. I'm ready for something new. Like, okay, usually something new will come.
Yeah, absolutely. I would tell people to just watch your electronics. Like we are still in Mercury retrograde. So if you haven't backed up the thing, if you haven't, whatever, Uranus sun, it is a powerfully electric energy. So do watch your electronics and things like that day. And certainly we are all trying to survive 5G right now. So watch your cell phone. Okay.
Yeah. I have some really good tools for that, but that's for another show. Okay. Theme for the week.
The theme for the week is Capricorn. Okay.
That's the theme is Capricorn. Okay.
It's just Capricorn, get into it. What are the Capricorn at the highest evolution of Capricorn? What do those qualities look like? And are you displaying them and developing them in your life? When we're on the low end of Capricorn, what does it look like? Just use the Capricorn quality scale. I think you can use that all week to kind of see what's developing and where you're at with some of these things. I would also say, be like a Capricorn. You don't need to make quick decisions.
Stormie, could you, and this is, I'm putting you on the spot, but could you fire off some of what you would consider the highest qualities of Capricorn, and then some of the less mature or less experienced qualities of Capricorn?
Absolutely. In its height, we have mastery. This is my life, my doing, and there is an ownership of it, right? This side is my side of the street to keep clean. That is yours. That is high level Saturn mastery. I am achieving. Yes, I have to buckle down and I have to not have the sugar, right? So that I can have the water, because what I really want is a hot, sexy body, right? These are the high level masteries of Capricorn, getting it done, staying disciplined. I'm on track. When we see Capricorn in its immaturity, I like that. I am very rigid. I'm playing the blame game. Maybe there's another way that's easier, softer, right? We're looking for that. There's no fun. I'm not fun. I'm rigid in what I'm doing. So in that scale, in that spectrum, we all fall. But in that area of your chart, look at where are you at in the development of those characteristics? Because I'll tell you, the higher level you get towards the Capricorn qualities, the freer that area of your chart feels.
Ooh, dang, that was so good. Okay, so we look for places where we're feeling rigid, where we're blaming, where we're not having fun, where we're too serious. Would you also put control in there? Like where we're feeling like we need to control everyone and everything?
Yeah, we need to control, or I think a better version of control with Capricorn is that I care a lot about what other people think.
Caring what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then higher qualities would be mastery, ownership, or responsibility, right? But with that responsibility comes the awareness that you actually then can create your circumstances in a way that you maybe weren't taking responsibility for before, right?
Absolutely.
And then discipline, but not the kind of discipline that's rigid, the kind of discipline that is with the understanding and awareness that you will get the things that you most value if you have some discipline around those areas of your life. And when you do that, then freedom is available to you.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And then what would you give us on the intensity scale?
It's Capricorn, so I feel like it's its own intensity scale just in and of itself. But I do think that this is a rather intense week. I think we're going to feel it quite a bit because there's so much Capricorn that's trying to ground us down, and that is coming against still a lot of Neptunian energy that can feel really confusing. So the what is what I think and what is how I feel, which one of these are correct. So I think we will still battle with a little bit of that intensity this week. So I think it's a pretty high intensity week for sure.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not intense at all, 10 being like the most intense we could experience.
I think that we're going to have a 6-7 kind of.
Okay. All right. 6-7. All right. Stormie, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with as we embark upon the journey of this week?
I would just tell you guys, enjoy it. Remember, like 1 24-hour period at a time, which even that, most human beings are only responsible for staying alive for 13 hours at a time. It's very survivable and it's doable. And if you are exhausted from listening to, breathing in, take some things off your plate if you need to. That is creating a space of self-discipline and self-responsibility for making sure your space is healthy. So just enjoy it. Enjoy it the best you can. Okay.
So I'm just going to give a few high-level summary points that we can walk away with, and that's perfect. Remember to enjoy the week. Something else you said is that it's survivable. Like whatever you're going through is survivable. That it's a shifting week. That this is an opportunity for us to look at that mountain and have this energy of like, I can climb that mountain. I can climb it. That you're saying that the frustration that we may have been experiencing over the last few weeks may be dying down at this point. There were karmic and dharmic things that came into our life from the end of 2021 in this whole beginning of the year period. There were karmic and dharmic things that came in. So are you ready for these things? Are you not ready for these things? You're going to start to have some clarity around the dharmic pieces of it. The karmic, maybe there'll be some unwinding or unbinding of those karmic knots and some more freedom to flow in your life. You're going to have more clarity on the things that did come up, but the real finality around these issues is going to come early March, is what I heard from you.
Yes.
You're having this opportunity to look at your life and where are you finding mastery? Look at the Capricorn house for that. Also places where you're getting clear. No, I don't want to participate in that. I'm done with that. I am no longer colluding with that, whatever that is. That could be something internal inside of you that you're like, I'm so done with that self-talk. I'm so done with that belief system. Yeah. I'm ready to move on. Or it could be external. I love how you say this. We are the author of our own story in Capricorn. So you are the author of your own story. So look at the Capricorn area of your life and really harness that. Okay. What came into your attention? Okay. At the end of the year, be diligent, you said. Recognize also that you may have some confusion because we still do have this Neptune energy. So there's clarity, but there also may still be confusion.
Right.
But don't worry, because we don't need to do anything right this second. Like it's the energy may be moving forward, but we don't actually have to like put the pedal to the metal and go.
Yes. Just put your head where your hands are. Work on what you can touch. That's it.
Okay. I love that. Okay. We have Mercury conjunct Pluto. So if this is this conversation we had around finding help, if you need help, find it, ask for it. We could be having some soul searching on Friday. This is where we're going to feel vulnerable. This is an opportunity to be honest. What's at the root of this so that it can be the best? We're having Venus come out of retrograde. This is a time for us to ground in. We've had this opportunity to reevaluate our values, our relationships, our finances, our structures. And this is a time to just sort of breathe into those realizations. So Saturday, just breathe with it, be with it. Maybe journal if you're a journaler, or talk to a friend if if that helps you to like really kind of anchor some of these things. Of course, I just said 2 Gemini moon things. It's so Gemini moon. Like I said, journal and talk to a friend. Whatever it is that you do, meditate, go into nature, whatever it is that you do to really anchor the things that came up for you in these last few weeks, and take some time to celebrate those things, to thank those things. Like, thank you for this new awareness. This is helpful.
Yeah. Because it's not going to always be calm. Some of the new awareness is quite painful.
Yes, there you go. Okay, you're saying that relationship decisions, we can still hold on those. Financial decisions, that we could have the clarity around them, but maybe still wait, right? And you're saying until the new moon, which is February 1st.
Yes, if you can. And life on life's terms, right?
Yes.
Something may present it and you got to make a decision. Trust that.
Another line from you today that's super helpful is learning how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And are you bored or being boring? And that we'll have this opportunity on Sunday for some newness, like a new energy to come in. And it might be surprising. It might be really energizing. Pay attention.
Pay attention. Pay attention and just watch your electronics.
Watch your electronics. There you go. All right, Stormie, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure. It always feels like this grand reunion whenever I get to hang out with you. In the inner circle this month, it's felt like that. And this show for sure has felt like that as well. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And thank you guys for being here. Hopefully the guidance helps.
Yes. All right. We have a very exciting course with Christopher Renstrom coming up soon. We have the waitlist open. We do not have registration open yet, but if you are interested in learning how to plan your life based on your chart and how your chart aligns with the cosmic clock, the cosmic calendar, this is going to be the course for you. We're doing it around the astrological new year, which is not January 1st. It is actually March new moon in Aries. So it'll be planned so that you'll be already aligning with the cosmic curriculum by spending some time with your calendar, your chart, and the cosmic curriculum for the year, and learning how to map it and learning how to like look at it periods of time and go, okay, this is a great time to launch this new project. This is a great time to get married. This is a great time to whatever the things are that are up for you in your life. So you can get on the waitlist for that at astrologyhub.com/cosmic waitlist. That's astrologyhub.com/cosmic waitlist. We will be opening registration in a few weeks, and we'd love to have you a part of that 3-week online course and experience based on Christopher Renstrom's book, The Cosmic Calendar. If you haven't picked that up, now would be a great time to pick it up so that you're ready for class. And that's The Cosmic Calendar. All right. And I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. Thank you for riding with the changes and playing with us as we try on new formats and introduce you to new astrologers. We're so grateful for all of your feedback and your support and your encouragement. And I am so grateful that you have decided to make astrology a part of your life. Thanks for being in our community, and we will catch you on the next episode.